What do you think about the Dems making excuses for this guy?
Well, it's what is that thing they always say? If they didn't have double standards, they'd have no standards whatsoever. Right. And that's like case in point with Platner, which I kind of want him to win because Platner. I just want it's the most Jerry Lewis of names. Senator Platner, whoa, with the Nazi test, skull and cross, whoa, with the Platner in the voting. This guy is all style and no substance. Like he bragged, oh, I was in the Marine Corps. Well, you were so good at killing people? That's why you got the Nazi tattoo? Were you special forces? No, he was regular Marine Corps. And then he's like, oh, I'm an oyster farmer. I'm an oyster farmer. Like it takes a lot of brains to do that. I looked it up. You know how you farm oysters? You throw oysters in the ocean. Then you come back a couple years later and you pick them up.
Wow.
There's like no planning involved. You don't have to check them or have any advanced knowledge. So he's just a freaking goofball with a tattoo, which he since replaced. And you know what they say, Greg? The cover-up is always worse than
the crime.
And the Nazi tattoo.
That is so true. Well put, well put. Heather, you know he went to a $75,000 a year prep school. His family is quite prominent. So this is what it shows you, that the Democrats are looking at superficial things and they're willing to overlook like other things, like the fact that he's an elite prep school kid who has a Nazi symbol.
Yeah, I mean, it's a total rejection by the Democrats to embrace moderates. Obviously, this is embracing extremism. And there's maybe an internal civil war going on right now between Schumer, who backed Mills, and you have Bernie Sanders saying that he backs Platner. And so they're in total disarray, rightfully so, maybe because the anger was sparked in 2016, 2024, when Trump won. Biden, really, when he dropped out, they didn't get to replace with a nominee. It was Harris by default. So they're really angry and upset, thinking someone like this, an outsider, will save the day. So you're left with Collins and Platner. And to me, as a voter, I think, oh, it's stability versus chaos. It's experience versus activism, or it's common sense versus ideological extremism. And I hope voters will make the right decision here.
Yeah, you know, Kat, you've had a few rough days in your past.
Yeah.
Did that ever lead you to praising Hamas or getting a Nazi tattoo?
So far, not at all.
Oh.
I don't think you have to clap for that. Look, I would like to say to Democrats, this is why many of us, myself included, if not especially, major theme in my first book, right, have been saying that intention matters. Intention makes a difference. That's what many of us said over and over again. Remember that whole thing, you alluded to it, Elon Musk is a Nazi because of the way he moved his hand, so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. And it was, nobody thought intention mattered. I didn't know that was a Nazi symbol. I fully believe that he probably didn't know, or he would have wore a shirt at least some of the time. He's more shirtless than most people that I've seen ever. Right. We would not have known.
He's up there with like Geraldo Rivera shirtless. Yeah.
We would not have known if he just would apply to the normal social standard of wearing a shirt. But I haven't really heard from Democrats, oh, okay, he didn't know, that wasn't his intention, and now I'm going to take a look at the time that I didn't give other people the benefit of the doubt when it came to intention. Because of course of course there's a difference between accidentally did something that could be construed as versus did something because they're a Nazi. But that is what so many of us have been saying for, are we over 10 years now? I think we're over 10 years now with this.
Yeah, they created the criteria for judgment.
And now they're acting like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and I would say, Tyrus, it's hard to call this accidental when he bragged about his expertise in history and that he read tons of books on Nazi Germany. I mean, he knew everything about World War II, and now he's just got a tattoo because he was a young drunk Marine and he thought it looked cool.
All right, well, before we get into him, Bernie Sanders, so if President Trump can say, I'm sorry, and he had a few dark years, and I mean, some of the people are saying some of the darkest years ever. Yeah. It's all good. It's all he has to do is, I'm sorry, I had a dark year. Well, then that's a horse of a different color. Well, yes, Mr. President. Here's the thing. Location. As a man who who put a bunch of tattoos on his body at different periods of his life, only the most special tattoo goes over your heart.
Oh.
That is the closest to you.
Wow.
That is who you are. That's not on his arm. That's not on his ass. It's not a tramp stamp. It's over his heart. When he wakes up in the morning, he sees it. He embraces it. He covered it up because his life changed and he wanted to run for office. And people were like, whoa, so he covered it up. Nothing before that. So intention was there. No one is going to put that tattoo on their chest. If he was more committed, it would have been on his neck. If he was a complete nut job, it would have been on his forehead. But it was close to his heart. So try to put that for where that's at.
I have a tattoo close to my heart.
What?
My nipple. Thank you.
And I would like to say, without any expertise in Kat's nipple, her nipple has never tried to ruin a race.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.